1 states factor f of x is equal to 3x cubed minus 12x squared plus 12x. Use your factorization to find the zeros of the function. So remember, what that tells us is we are going to make this equal to 0. So when we let it equal to 0, again, you have to ask yourself, is there something you can factor out? All right, and on this one here, I believe you can factor out a 3, and you can factor out an x. So when we get that done, what we have left is we have x squared, minus 4x plus 4. And again, we're setting that all equal to 0. Now on the second one there, you should hopefully recognize that it is a perfect square triangle. Well, if you don't see it, again, just do like we've been doing. And we'll have an x and we'll have an x. If you see a positive here, look at the next term. It's negative, so we know that they're both negative. And again, what are factors of 4 that give you negative 4? And you would tell me it's 2 and 2. All right, so you can see it there, and in fact, that's probably the easier way to see it. But again, remember, from our last section, we can write that as x minus 2 quantity squared is equal to 0. And again, remember that 2 up there tells us that we are going to see it twice. All right, so knowing that, we can go ahead and say 3x is equal to 0, or x minus 2 quantity squared is equal to 0. But remember, I'm going to take the square root of 0, and that's 0. So I can say it's x minus 2 is equal to 0. And 3 times x is equal to 0. And 3 times what equals 0? You would tell me x has to be equal to 0 on this one. On this one, you would tell me that x has to equal 2. And again, we're going to repeat that twice. So we're going to have 0. And they're saying to go from least to greatest. So 0, 2, and 2. All right. For the next one, I just gave you the thing. I didn't give you the graph. So on the test, you will have the graph. All right, so again, we're going to plot the x-intercepts of the function f of x is equal to 2 x to the fourth minus 26x squared plus 72. Again, we're saying we're going to let that equal 0. So when we let that equal 0, all right, and again, let's see, can we factor out something when we let it equal 0? You would tell me we could factor out a 2. When I factor out a 2, I'll have x to the fourth minus 13x squared plus 36. And that would equal 0. Now this is kind of back to our previous sections and chapters. Remember, I can divide both sides by 2, and we would know that 2 would go away, so I just end up with the x to the fourth minus 13x squared plus 36. Now, some of you will recognize it as a quadratic, but if you don't, remember I showed you that substitution method where you can say let u equal x squared. So if I let that happen, then I'll have u squared minus 13u plus 36 is equal to 0. And now some of you will see it a little better. So now you can write this as, let's see again, I'm going to have a u. I'm going to have a u. Look at the last term, it's plus. So I look at the middle term, it's minus. So that tells me both of them are minus. And what are factors of 36 that give us negative 13? And you would tell me that would be, let's see, 4 and 9. So now we're going to let, remember, we let u equal x squared. So now I'm just going to plug that in. So I'll have x squared minus 4. And I'll have x squared minus 3. Hopefully now you see that as a difference of squares on both of them. I mean, 9, excuse me. That's 9. Now you should see it as a difference of squares. So that would be x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 3, x minus 3. And again, all of those equal to 0. So by the zero product property, we'll know we'll have x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to positive 2, x is equal to negative 3, x is equal to positive 3. And again, those are the things you're going to put on the x-axis because those are our x-intercepts. All right. The one tomorrow will be similar more to grouping. So remember, we can use any of the factoring that we had from the previous section. So just remember, that's my hint to you. Thank you, and hope this works.